A sharp buzz of the intercom cut through the sterile silence of the boardroom. Without looking up, Evelyn Blackwood pressed the button. How many times have I said no interruptions during the executive meeting? Ms. Blackwood, your DoorDash is here. Isabel Hayes, her secretary, sounded like she was whispering from a bunker. I didn't order anything. Evelyn frowned, her manicured nails tapping a sharp rhythm on the polished mahogany. The circle of executives around the table held their breath. But the driver insists it's for you. Taro milk tea with boba, light ice, half sugar. A few stifled chuckles rippled through the room before being instantly silenced by Evelyn's glacial stare. Everyone knew the Ice Queen of Blackwood Corporation ran on black coffee and unfiltered ambition. She wouldn't be caught dead with a drink that sounded like a teenager's Instagram post. Get rid of him, Evelyn said, her red lips barely moving. 5 minutes later, the boardroom door flew open. Delivery for you. A young man in a bright yellow DoorDash uniform strode in, holding up the offending purple drink. His smile was so brilliant it seemed to have its own built-in photo filter. The executives collectively gasped. Did this guy have a death wish? Evelyn slowly raised her head, her eyes like chips of ice. She was about to have security drag him out when a clear, masculine voice echoed in her mind. Man, this woman gives off more cold air than my freezer, and that's saying something. Evelyn's pupils contracted. She shot a sharp look at the driver. What did you say? The young man looked utterly baffled. I didn't say anything. Here's your milk tea. Just need you to confirm. Evelyn was certain she'd heard the voice, but his lips hadn't moved. Weirder still, the sound hadn't come through her ears. It had bloomed directly inside her skull. Put it on the table and get out, she said, her voice dangerously low. As the driver set down the drink and turned to leave, the voice returned. This boardroom looks like a funeral home. No wonder everyone looks like they're waiting for the firing squad. Evelyn shot to her feet. Stop. The driver turned, a picture of innocence. Is there a problem, ma'am? Evelyn narrowed her eyes, walking slowly toward him. As the distance between them shrank, the voice in her head grew louder, clearer. Whoa, she's even prettier up close. Still looks like she wants to murder me, though. Are those eyelashes real? They're defying physics. She stopped about 6 feet away from him, and his thoughts flooded her mind like a tidal wave. If my paycheck doesn't hit soon, I'm screwed for next month's rent. This delivery should cover a rack of ribs. Hey, why is she staring at me like that? Do I have something on my face? An absurd reality hit Evelyn with the force of a physical blow. She could hear this man's thoughts, and it only worked within a 10-foot radius. What's your name? She asked. Silas Vance, he said, scratching his head. Ma'am, if that's all, Silas Vance, Evelyn interrupted, a dangerous smile playing on her lips. While delivering my drink, you spilled it on my Armani suit. Silas's eyes widened. No way. I'm always super careful. It's worth $8,000, Evelyn said conversationally. You can pay for the damages, or, she let the word hang in the air, you can work it off. The room was dead silent. The executives exchanged bewildered looks. Ms. Blackwood's suit was pristine. Silas's mind exploded. This is a shakedown, a total scam. $8,000. They could sell my organs and not get that much. Wait, is she hitting on me? I mean, I know I'm ridiculously handsome, but Evelyn nearly choked. Work? What kind of work? Silas asked cautiously. Personal assistant, Evelyn said, not missing a beat. $10,000 a month. Room and board included. The damages will be deducted from your salary. The mental channel erupted again. 10,000? That's way better than DoorDash. Wait, room and board? Is she gonna pull a casting couch thing on me? I mean, she's a goddess, but a vein pulsed in Evelyn's temple. It's a literal offer. The company has corporate housing. I didn't say that out loud. Evelyn lied smoothly. Your face did. Sign the contract, now. Half an hour later, Silas Vance stood in front of the Blackwood Corporation tower, clutching a freshly signed employment contract, feeling like he was in a bizarre dream. The terms were draconian. On-call / unconditional obedience, a $1 million penalty for breach of contract. Did I just sell my soul? He muttered. Up on the TH floor in the CEO's office, Evelyn was re-watching the security footage. The video clearly showed that Silas Vance had not at any point spoken the words she had heard. Interesting, she murmured, taking a sip of the forgotten taro milk tea. It was surprisingly good. The next morning at 7 sharp, Silas, dressed in an ill-fitting cheap suit, rang the doorbell of Evelyn's penthouse for the 10th time. Finally, he heard footsteps. The door opened to reveal Evelyn in a silk robe, her dark hair slightly messy, a world away from her usual polished corporate image. Silas's inner monologue instantly went into overdrive. Holy, is this something I'm allowed to see for free? That collarbone, those legs, is that? Wait, what is she holding? Evelyn raised the cast-iron skillet in her hand. If you dare to objectify me in your head one more time, I will use this to introduce your brain to the outside world. Silas's face went white. How did you know? A lucky guess, Evelyn said, turning back inside. Follow me, new assistant. We have a packed schedule. Silas followed, heart pounding, his mind frantically trying to self-censor. She definitely has mind-reading powers. No, that's impossible. She must be a micro-expressions expert. I have to control my thoughts. Think about math. Pi is 3.141596. A small smile touched Evelyn's lips. This new test subject was going to be more entertaining than she'd thought. In the days that followed, the employees of Blackwood Corp were shocked to find a sunny, handsome young assistant trailing their Ice Queen CEO. But what was more shocking was that Ms. Blackwood seemed to be smiling more often. Ms. Blackwood, here are today's reports, the CFO said, handing her a folder and accidentally brushing her fingers. Silas's inner voice immediately flared. That old sleaze. Is he getting handsy? I swear, I'll spike his coffee with laxatives. Evelyn cleared her throat to hide a smile. Thank you, just leave it here. During lunch, Silas was mobbed by a group of female colleagues in the cafeteria, all asking for his number. From a distance, Evelyn heard his thoughts clearly. TSK, I know I'm a hot commodity, but my heart already belongs to Ms. Blackwood. Wait, what am I thinking? She deliberately walked over. Mr. Vance, a word in my office. Once the door was closed, Silas's thoughts became a jumbled mess. A private meeting. What does she want? Is this really it? The casting couch moment? Should I give in or fight it? I mean, giving in wouldn't be the worst thing. Evelyn slapped a stack of files against his chest. Organize this data and give me a full analysis by end of day. Silas's mental voice deflated instantly. Oh, it's just work. Seeing his crestfallen expression, Evelyn suddenly asked, What do you think of me, huh? Silas snapped to attention. Ms. Blackwood, you're a paragon of beauty and wisdom, an inspiration to us all. His inner voice told a very different story, beautiful and brilliant, but a total hard-ass, abrasive workaholic, slave driver. But why do I still find her so damn captivating? Is this what Stockholm Syndrome feels like? Evelyn's eyes narrowed. You're working late tonight. What? What? Silas wailed. Because the look on your face is incredibly punchable, Evelyn said, turning away, unable to stop the smile that finally broke free. This feeling, hearing his real thoughts, it was surprisingly addictive. Evelyn discovered that Silas's inner monologue was an unexpected asset in business negotiations. Ms. Blackwood, this is the best offer Goldwyn Enterprises can make, Chairman Thorne said, pushing his gold-rimmed glasses up his nose, his smile all teeth. If you push the price any lower, there's no profit left for us. Evelyn tapped her finger on the table, glancing at Silas standing behind her. As expected, his mental theater began immediately. Bullshit. I heard this old fox on the phone with his mistress last week bragging that he could still drop the price by % and make a killing. Wait, how do I know that? Evelyn's eyebrow twitched. Her personal thought detector apparently came with bonus features. Mr. Thorne, she began, her voice smooth as silk. I hear you recently purchased an estate in the Hamptons. Is the renovation going well? The chairman's hand jerked, spilling tea on his tie. Ms. Blackwood, how did you know about that? Silas's thoughts exploded. Holy crap, how does she know that too? Does she actually have mind-reading powers? No trust in science. Evelyn fought back a laugh. A lucky guess. Since you can afford a place in the Hamptons, I imagine the price on this contract, she pushed the document back across the table, could come down another 30%. That's impossible. Thorne slammed his hand on the table. Silas's mind provided a running commentary. Oh, the old fox is about to call his accountant to cook the books. Wait, why do I know the exact steps for creative accounting? Ultimately, the negotiation ended in a landslide victory for Evelyn. In the car on the way back, She enjoyed watching the conflicted expression on Silas's face. Ms. Blackwood, Silas finally broke the silence. Do you have special powers or something? Evelyn's heart skipped a beat. Oh, like reading people's minds? Silas's gaze darted away. Just a wild guess. His thoughts, however, were crystal clear. If she can really read minds, then what I was thinking in the shower yesterday. Oh God, just kill me now. Evelyn's ears grew warm. She feigned composure. Mr. Vance, you've been watching too many sci-fi movies. She changed the subject. Tomorrow we have a negotiation with Starlight Industries. You'll be taking the minutes. The next morning in the lobby of Blackwood Tower. Hurry up. The elevator's closing. Evelyn said, holding the door, frowning at a slow-moving Silas. He jogged in, his mind buzzing happily. Ms. Blackwood is wearing a pencil skirt today. Those legs. Could. Stop it. Silas, you are a professional assistant. Evelyn's mouth twitched. She was about to reprimand him when the elevator jolted violently and stopped. What's going on? She instinctively grabbed the handrail. Probably a malfunction. Silas hit the emergency button, then pulled out his phone. No signal. In a confined space, they were less than 2 feet apart. Evelyn could clearly hear Silas's accelerating heartbeat. And she smells amazing. What perfume is that? From this angle, I can see her eyelashes. What am I thinking? But she's so close, her lips look so soft. Evelyn's cheeks flushed. Silas, she snapped. He yelped. You. She was about to lay into him when the elevator lurched again. Silas instinctively reached out, shielding her and trapping her in the corner. Their eyes met, their breath mingling. Silas's thoughts were deafening. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. This is way too intimate. But she's so soft. Her waist is so small. What is wrong with me? But I really want to kiss her. Evelyn's heart hammered against her ribs. For a moment, she forgot to push him away. Ms. Blackwood, Silas stammered. Don't be scared. I've had self-defense training. You're safe. Who's scared? Evelyn forced a calm she didn't feel. You've had self-defense training? Oh, it's a hobby. Silas's eyes flickered, but his thoughts betrayed him. 3 years of Krav Maga wasn't for nothing. Wait, why did I just think that? Evelyn was about to press him when the elevator suddenly resumed normal operation, the lights flickering back on. They sprang apart, hastily adjusting their clothes. About what just happened, Evelyn said, walking out of the elevator without looking back. You're docked half a month's bonus. What? What? Silas cried out in despair. Because, Evelyn turned, saw his puppy dog expression, and changed her mind. Forget it. Go buy 2 milk teas. Taro boba, light ice, half sugar. Silas's eyes widened. But I thought you only drink black coffee. I like milk tea now. Is that a problem? She shot back with a raised eyebrow. No. No problem at all. Silas practically skipped away, his thoughts soaring. She likes the milk tea I bought. Does that mean? Evelyn watched his cheerful retreat, unconsciously touching her own warm ear. The company's entire logistics system suddenly crashed. Executives were in a panic. The Black Friday promotion is about to launch. If our logistics are down, we're finished, the COO yelled, clutching his few remaining hairs. Evelyn called an emergency meeting. In the corner, she saw Silas playing a game on his phone. Mr. Vance, she said coldly, do you have any brilliant insights to offer? All eyes turned to the pretty boy assistant. Silas looked up, bewildered. Me? His thoughts, however, were racing. Isn't this just like the algorithm for DoorDash? You cluster orders by region, dynamically assign drivers. Wait, how do I know this? Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Let's hear it. To everyone's astonishment, Silas haltingly laid out a logistics plan based on the principles of gig economy delivery services. So, basically, you batch the orders by zip code, then use real-time traffic data to dynamically adjust delivery routes. He finished, looking as surprised as everyone else. I was just spitballing. No, the CTO stood up, his face alight with excitement. This framework is brilliant. It's far more flexible than our current system. Evelyn looked at Silas's baffled expression, a thoughtful look on her face. Implement Mr. Vance's plan. After the meeting, Silas caught up to her. Ms. Blackwood, I don't know where that came from. I know, Evelyn said, her tone full of meaning. You were spitballing. She walked away, hearing his confused thoughts trailing behind her. Who am I? Why'd I know these things? Did I have amnesia? Working late into the night, Evelyn found Silas still in the office. "Why haven't you left?" she asked. "Waiting for you," he said as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "It's late, not safe." His thoughts told the real story. They still haven't caught that stalker from last week. "I can't let Miss Blackwood walk to her car alone." A warmth spread through Evelyn's chest, but her voice was still sharp. Meddling. As they walked through the underground parking garage, they noticed a dark figure shadowing them. "Ms. Blackwood, get in the car," Silas yelled, pulling open the door to her Rolls-Royce. The figure suddenly lunged, a glint of metal in his hand. "Look out." Silas shoved Evelyn behind him and executed a flawless spinning kick that sent the attacker sprawling. Evelyn was stunned. This was no hobby. This was professional-grade combat skill. Security guards rushed over and subdued the assailant. Still shaken, Evelyn grabbed Silas's arm. "Who are you?" Before she could finish, she heard a strange, unfamiliar thought that wasn't his usual inner monologue. "Shit, I blew my cover. Have to come up with a plausible excuse. Wait, why can't she hear my thoughts all of a sudden?" Evelyn froze. It was true. At that moment, she couldn't hear Silas's thoughts at all, only that bizarre, third-person-like narration. "Ms. Blackwood," Silas asked, his face etched with concern, "are you okay?" She snapped back to the present. She paused. "Starting tomorrow, your salary is raised to 20,000. Silas's eyes bulged. "What? You don't want it?" "No, I want it. Silas nodded so fast his head bobbed. His usual mental broadcast suddenly crackled back to life. "I'm rich. I could get that new PlayStation. Wait, why is she being so nice to me? Is it possible she's actually falling for me?" Evelyn rolled her eyes. "Don't overthink it. It's a reward for saving my Armani suit." She got into the car, watching Silas's goofy grin in the rearview mirror, and couldn't help but smile. This mysterious assistant of hers was turning out to be far more interesting than she could have ever imagined. "Ms. Blackwood." Isabel Hayes burst in. "It's terrible. The logistics system is down again. All the Black Friday orders are stuck in the warehouse." The fulfillment center was chaos. Hundreds of employees were running around like headless chickens. "The system is completely paralyzed," the CTO cried, looking like he was about to tear out what little hair he had left. "It'll take at least 12 hours to restore." Evelyn frowned. "The promotion starts in 12 hours. Do you have any idea how much Blackwood will lose in penalties if we can't ship?" The room fell silent. Silas timidly raised his hand. "I might have an idea." All eyes swiveled to the pretty boy assistant. "Speak," Evelyn commanded. Silas swallowed. "Well, sometimes the driver app crashes, and when that happens, His inner voice was 10 times clearer than his spoken words. "We use a group chat. Just set up a dedicated Slack channel for each delivery zone. Make the warehouse manager the admin, and have the drivers claim jobs in the channel." Wait, why did I say we? I'm not really a delivery driver, except I was. But why do I know so much? Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Do as Mr. Vance says." 3 hours later, the makeshift Slack-based logistics network was up and running, and it was somehow even more efficient than the original system. "It's a miracle," the COO exclaimed, clapping Silas on the back. "Kid, how does your brain work?" Silas laughed nervously. You pick things up driving for DoorDash." His mind, however, was wailing. "Crap, I blew my cover again. Ms. Blackwood is definitely going to be suspicious. But why does she keep staring at me today? Could she really be into me? No way. She's the ice queen, and I'm just a delivery guy." Evelyn coughed lightly. "Mr. Vance, you're working late tonight." What? What?" Silas cried. "For slandering your superior in your head," Evelyn said, her face a perfect mask of indifference. "Everyone else out." "Silas." The pipes burst in the corporate apartments. Evelyn looked up from a report, one perfectly sculpted eyebrow raised. "And all junior-level and above employees need temporary housing." Isabel Hayes nodded. "Yes, Ms. Blackwood. Repairs will take at least a week. The company has arranged for hotel accommodations for all the managers." "What about Silas?" Evelyn asked quietly. "Mr. Vance is also on the list for a hotel." "That won't be necessary," Evelyn interrupted. "Have Mr. Vance stay at my place." "What?" Silas, who had just walked in, dropped a stack of files all over the floor. Evelyn sipped her coffee elegantly. "I have a spare guest room, and..." She gave him a meaningful look. "It's more convenient for working late." Silas forced a smile. but his mind was a Category 5 hurricane. Moving in with Ms. Blackwood. Will I survive a night? But her place must be huge. I wonder if she has a PS. Wait, what am I thinking? My life is at stake. That evening, a terrified Silas dragged his suitcase to the door of Evelyn's penthouse. The guest room is on the first floor, Evelyn said without turning around. You are not to go to the second floor. You are not to enter my study. You are not to thud. Silas tripped over the doorstep, sprawling onto the floor as his suitcase flew open, scattering its contents. Several pairs of SpongeBob-themed boxer shorts landed squarely on Evelyn's priceless Persian rug. The air froze. Silas's inner voice went dead silent. Just let me die right now. Evelyn fought back a smile. Clean that up, and then, she pointed to the kitchen, make dinner. Dinner? Silas looked up. Your resume said you have excellent culinary skills, Evelyn said with a pointed look. Or was that a lie too? Silas's mind sputtered back to life. Oh crap, I just put random stuff on that resume. The only thing I can make is ramen. Wait, I think I actually do know how to cook. Where's this muscle memory coming from? Half an hour later, a perfectly simple, elegant bowl of Casio e pepe sat in front of Evelyn. She took a bite, and her eyes lit up. Not bad. Silas scratched his head, smiling sheepishly. I guess it just came back to me. His thoughts were a tangled mess of confusion. What the hell? When did I learn to cook? And my knife skills were totally professional. Was I a chef before I lost my memory? Evelyn watched him thoughtfully. For breakfast tomorrow, I want a perfectly made breakfast burrito. Huh? I don't know how. Silas started, but his hands were already moving on their own, grabbing ingredients. Okay, I guess I know how to do that too. The next morning, Evelyn was startled awake by the sound of running water. She frowned at the clock. Who would be showering in her house? Then it hit her. Silas. And she could hear his thoughts loud and clear. This jacuzzi tub is insane. Rich people really know how to live. Whoa, this bottle of body wash costs over dollars. That's half my weekly pay. So many bubbles. Wow, this smells amazing. Evelyn's face darkened. The bastard was in her private bathroom. She stormed to the second-floor bathroom and threw open the door. Their eyes met through the steam. Silas stood frozen in the tub, still holding her obscenely expensive body wash. They both screamed. Silas fumbled for a towel, slipped on the wet porcelain, and pitched forward. Evelyn instinctively reached out to catch him, and they both went down in a heap, with Silas landing directly on top of her. Time stopped. Silas's thoughts were deafening. I'm so dead. I'm definitely getting fired for this. But she's so soft, and she smells so good. What's wrong with me? But we're so close. She has water droplets on her eyelashes. Evelyn, who should have been furious, found herself inexplicably wrapping her arms around him. Huh? Silas was bewildered. I said. Evelyn shoved him off with all her might. Get out. 10 minutes later, a fully dressed and deeply embarrassed pair met in the dining room. Silas served a flawless breakfast burrito. Ms. Blackwood, your breakfast. Evelyn took it with a stony expression, but she could hear his mind playing a continuous loop. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Shut up, she snapped, biting into the burrito. It was infuriatingly delicious. I didn't say anything, Silas said, looking wounded. Returning home late from work, Evelyn found Silas lurking suspiciously by her front door. What are you doing out here? She frowned. Silas jumped. Ms. Blackwood, you came from that way. I was just taking out the trash. His thoughts, however, were a frantic buzz of anxiety. That stalker is back. I have to find a way to stop her from coming home alone. Should I tell her? No, she'll just think I'm being nosy. A warmth spread through Evelyn's chest, but she deliberately kept her voice cold. Move, I'm going in. Just then, a dark figure darted out from the shadows. Look out. Silas yanked Evelyn out of the way and in the same motion delivered a beautiful spinning kick that sent the knife in the attacker's hand flying. Evelyn was stunned. This was no delivery driver. This was more like a special agent. The attacker scrambled up and lunged again. Silas shielded Evelyn while fending him off, his inner monologue a bizarre mix of professional assessment and utter panic. This bastard is making me late for my pizza delivery. Wait, I don't deliver pizza anymore. Is Ms. Blackwood okay? That left hook has no power. Wait, how do I know so much about fighting? Deciding to take this guy down in a few swift moves, Silas had the attacker subdued, tied up securely with his own belt. After the police had taken the man away, Evelyn stood with her arms crossed. Explain. Silas scratched his head. You run into a lot of stray dogs on delivery routes. Oh. Evelyn turned and went inside. Tonight, you're permitted to sleep in the guest room on the second floor. Huh? What? Silas was dumbfounded. To protect me, obviously, Evelyn said without looking back, a secret smile playing on her lips. Silas's thoughts exploded with joy. The second floor, closer to Ms. Blackwood's bedroom. What am I thinking? Ms. Blackwood trusts me. Did she just smile? No, must have been a trick of the light. Listening to his chaotic thoughts, Evelyn suddenly felt that having this living, breathing enigma around wasn't so bad after all. In the morning, Evelyn was startled awake. Silas's voice was echoing in her head as clear as day. Miss Blackwood, don't take my milk tea. She shot up in bed, grabbing the alarm clock. A.M. Silas should be fast asleep in the guest room on the first floor, but his thoughts were blasting into her brain like they were on a loudspeaker. That Taro Boba is mine. Whoa, Miss Blackwood looks so cute in a maid outfit. Evelyn's face burned. She snatched a pillow and threw it against the wall. Silas Vance, wake up. From downstairs came a loud thump, followed by the sound of frantic footsteps and a panicked cry. What's wrong? What's happening? The mental channel instantly switched to terror mode. Earthquake? Fire? Or has Miss Blackwood finally decided to murder me in my sleep? Evelyn, wrapping her robe tightly around herself, ran downstairs and collided with a shirtless, sleep-crumpled Silas bursting out of his room. Their eyes met. Silas's mind went into meltdown. Holy crap, why is Miss Blackwood at my door? Am I still dreaming? Wait, I'm not wearing a shirt. Evelyn spun around, but not before she'd seen the lean muscle of his abdomen and a strange scar on his shoulder. It was in odd shape, almost like a bullet wound. Get dressed, she snapped, her ears turning crimson. And stop dreaming about me. Silas stood there, dumbfounded. How did you know I was dreaming about? A lucky guess. Evelyn fled back upstairs, hearing his confused thoughts trail her. Could she really read minds? No, impossible, that's too crazy. Back in her bedroom, Evelyn buried her face in her pillow. This was bad. Her mind-reading ability was apparently getting an upgrade, and now it could even tap into his dreams. In the Blackwood Corporation boardroom, the atmosphere was tense. The partnership deal with Apex Innovations fell through, the marketing director said dejectedly. They're insisting on a % controlling stake, or it's no deal. Evelyn frowned. What's Apex's trump card? Their new smart logistics system. It supposedly boosts efficiency by %. Silas, dozing in the corner, suddenly had a very active inner monologue. It's just a dynamic padding algorithm with some AI forecasting. I could code something better in my sleep. Wait, why do I know that? Evelyn's eyes lit up. Mr. Vance, your thoughts. All eyes swiveled to the pretty boy assistant. Silas jolted awake. Me? His mouth started moving, seemingly of its own accord, spouting technical jargon. Well, you could develop a multi-objective optimization model based on deep learning, integrating real-time traffic data. The room was silent. The CTO's jaw was on the floor. That proposal is at least 2 generations ahead of Apex's system. Silas himself looked stunned. What did I just say? A small smile played on Evelyn's lips. Do as Mr. Vance says. Meeting adjourned. After everyone had left, Silas blocked her path. Ms. Blackwood, I don't know where those words. They were from your spitballing. Evelyn said meaningfully. Just like when you solved the last logistics crisis. Silas ran his hands through his hair in frustration. But I really am just a delivery guy. My resume is fake. I know. Evelyn cut him off. But you do know these things. She took a step closer. Just like you know hand-to-hand combat, multiple languages, and Silas's mind was in turmoil. Oh God, she knows. But I don't even know myself. Do I have amnesia? Was I brainwashed? Or am I? Evelyn suddenly reached out and traced the scar on his shoulder. How did you get this? Silas went rigid. Delivering food. I fell. His thoughts were more honest. That's obviously a gunshot wound. But where would I get a gunshot wound? Who the hell am I? Evelyn thoughtfully withdrew her hand. Tomorrow, you're coming with me somewhere. Over the weekend, Evelyn drove Silas to a shooting range on the outskirts of the city. Ms. Blackwood, Silas swallowed hard. You're not going to? just testing your aim, Evelyn said, handing him a pistol. Do you know how to use this? As if it had a mind of its own, Silas's hand expertly checked the weapon, loaded the magazine, and took aim. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots, all dead center in the bullseye. The range instructor whistled. Professional level, man. Ex-military. Silas's face was pale. This is my first time. His mind had already short-circuited. What the hell? Who the hell am I? Evelyn nodded, satisfied. Just as she thought. On the drive back, Silas was in a daze. Evelyn could hear his chaotic thoughts. Guns, fighting, business analysis. This isn't a delivery guy's skill set. Am I a spy? A fugitive? Stop thinking about it. Evelyn cut through his spiral. What do you want for dinner? Oh, Silas blinked. You're buying me dinner? What else? She arched an eyebrow. We're celebrating you successfully freaking yourself out. Silas's inner voice immediately perked up. Is this a date? Wait, does Miss Blackwood like me? No, she's just investigating me. But she looks really beautiful today. Evelyn's lips curved into a slight smile. Hot pot. What? I said we're having hot pot for dinner, she repeated, turning the steering wheel. I know a place. Their taro milk tea is excellent. Silas's eyes widened. How did you know I like that? A lucky guess, Evelyn said, keeping her eyes on the road, but she couldn't hide the smile in them. At the hot pot restaurant, Silas looked at the bubbling spicy broth and the platters of food, so moved he nearly cried. It's been so long since I've eaten a meal this good, he muttered. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. Is the company treating you poorly? No. Silas waved his hands frantically. It's just, back when I was delivering, sometimes I only ate once a day. His thoughts revealed more. There were times I was so broke I couldn't even afford ramen. Just drank tap water. But why are those memories so hazy? A pang of sympathy hit Evelyn. She placed a slice of fatty beef in his bowl. Eat up. Silas flustered, jerked in surprise, and knocked over his entire glass of beer. Sorry. He fumbled for napkins, only making the mess worse. Stop, Evelyn said with a sigh. She reached over to help him wipe it up, and her fingers accidentally touched Silas's. Silas's inner voice suddenly became incredibly clear. Her hands are so soft. I really want to hold one. No, Silas, get a grip. She's the CEO, you're just a fake assistant. But she's being so nice to me today. Evelyn's ears grew hot. She pretended not to hear. Just drink. 3 beers later, Silas's face was as red as the chili peppers in the pot, and his tongue had loosened considerably. Miss Blackwood, you know what? When I first saw you, I thought you were really. What? She prompted. Really mean, Silas giggled. Like my old station manager. Like a queen. His thoughts, however, were far more honest. Really beautiful, really dazzling, like a star. Oh God, what kind of cheesy stuff am I thinking? After 2 more beers, Silas was completely unrestrained. Ms. Blackwood, I'll tell you a secret, he whispered, leaning in conspiratorially. I might not be the real Silas Vance. Evelyn's heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? I can't remember things from before, Silas said, his eyes unfocused. My memories before I started delivering are all a blur. It's like someone erased them. His thoughts were a chaotic jumble. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why do I know all these weird things? But it's not so bad now. At least I get to see Ms. Blackwood every day. Evelyn's heart clenched. It seemed his identity really was a mystery, but from the looks of it, he was just as clueless as she was. Don't think about it, she said, pouring him a glass of warm water. Let's go home. When it was time to pay, Silas was so drunk he could barely stand. Evelyn had to support him as they walked out, listening to his broken, mumbled thoughts. Miss Blackwood, really like her. Her own heart suddenly started beating faster. Back at the penthouse, it took all of Evelyn's strength to get Silas onto the sofa. You're so heavy, she panted, only to see Silas suddenly sit bolt upright, his eyes startlingly clear. Ms. Blackwood, he said seriously, I have something to tell you. Evelyn froze. You're not drunk. I am, Silas nodded. But there are some things I have to say now. His thoughts were clearer than they had ever been. If I don't say it now, I'll lose my nerve. Evelyn's heart was pounding against her ribs. What is it? Silas took a deep breath. I might not be who you think I am. I don't know who I am or why I know all these weird things. But, he grabbed her hand. I know that I like you. from the very first moment I saw you." Before he could finish, his head lolled to the side, and he passed out on her shoulder. Evelyn remained frozen, listening to the sound of his even breathing and his slowly calming thoughts. Really like Miss Blackwood. She sighed softly, reaching out to smooth the frown from his brow. Idiot. That night, for the first time, Evelyn didn't go back to her own bedroom. She kept watch by the sofa, listening to Silas's steady heartbeat and occasional sleep-talking. She suddenly felt that who he was didn't really matter. What mattered was that right now, he was here, by her side. "Mr. Vance, you're coming with me to an auction tonight," she commanded without looking up from her work. Silas, who was in the middle of inhaling a sandwich, nearly choked. "An auction? I don't know the first thing about antiques." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I thought you knew a little bit about everything." Silas looked blank. "Huh? What I know about that?" But his inner voice immediately took over. "If it's something good, you have to check the glaze, the body, the patina. Though percent of the stuff at these auctions are just traps for rich suckers. Hope Miss Blackwood doesn't get fleeced." A smile played on Evelyn's lips. "It's fine. You just need to be there." Silas. "Oh crap, is she actually counting on me to appraise stuff? I can't very well tell her my method is based on the feel of a takeout container to judge the age of porcelain, can I?" The auction house was teeming with New York's elite. Evelyn took her seat with an air of regal calm, while Silas stood behind her like a bodyguard, his mind a running ticker tape of snark. First item, a Ming Dynasty blue and white lotus vine vase. The auctioneer was effusive. This masterpiece from the official kills of Jing Dejun features a lustrous glaze and a clear mark on the base. Bidding starts at $500,000. Evelyn was about to raise her paddle when she heard Silas's thoughts. That clay body was clearly baked in a microwave last week. The glaze is so shiny you could use it as a mirror. If they could fire that kind of industrial glaze back in the Ming Dynasty, the Hangwu Emperor would have jumped up and shouted, "Technology changes lives." Evelyn's hand paused, and she calmly lowered her paddle. Second item, a Qing Dynasty white jade guanyin statue. Auctioneer. The jade is exquisite and warm, the carving sublime. Experts have authenticated this as a piece from the Qianlong era imperial workshop. Bidding starts at 1,000. Silas's mind scoffed. What experts? Did they use a magnifying glass? The carving lines are so stiff it looks like it was done by a machine. Qianlong era? If the Qianlong Emperor were alive today, the first thing he'd do is have that expert beheaded. Evelyn once again passed on bidding. Third item, a Republic-era Famillerose Millefleur tea set. Auctioneer. This set is brilliantly colored with detailed painting, a rare survivor. Bidding starts at 300,000. Silas's inner monologue was a furious critique. Millefleur? The pigments are as bright as a kid's watercolor set. The authentic colors aren't nearly this garish. If you're going to make a fake, at least respect the basic laws of chemistry. Evelyn nearly burst out laughing. She gracefully raised her teacup to hide her smile. Finally, the auctioneer brought out an unassuming small brown teapot. This pot has a rustic shape and superior clay, but its exact age is unknown. Bidding starts at $50,000. The other bidders looked bored, but Silas's mind was hit by a thunderbolt. Holy crap! That clay, that patina, that's absolutely an early work by George Orr, the Mad Potter of Biloxi. They're practically non-existent on the market. 50,000. Is this auction house blind? Evelyn smiled faintly and raised her paddle. 100,000. A murmur went through the crowd. A rival tycoon, unwilling to be outdone, called out, 150,000. Evelyn, unperturbed, replied, 300,000. The tycoon, teeth gritted, shot back, 350. Evelyn didn't even raise her head. 500,000. The room fell silent. The auctioneer's gavel came down with a thrilled crack. Sold to Ms. Blackwood. Silas was giving a mental standing ovation. Ms. Blackwood is a badass. That pot is worth at least $2 million on the open market. What a steal. Evelyn rose gracefully and murmured to Silas, "It seems you're not entirely useless after all." Silas. In the limo on the way home, Silas was fidgeting, stealing glances at Evelyn. Can she really read minds? No way, that defies science. But if not, how did she know that teapot was real? Evelyn calmly flipped through the auction catalog, pretending not to hear. Silas's mind continued to spin. Maybe she's secretly an antiques master? Or she has some reclusive genius as a consultant? Or maybe she's actually a superhero. Blackwood Corporation was in talks with a global luxury conglomerate, LVM, and their negotiator was notoriously difficult. A Frenchman named Pierre who fancied himself the Napoleon of the negotiating table. Before the meeting, Evelyn scanned a file and asked nonchalantly, "Mr. Vance, how do you think we should approach this?" Silas, who was sneakily eating a cookie, almost choked. "Huh? Me? I don't know anything about luxury goods." His inner voice, however, sprang to life. LVM wants to trade their second-tier brands for Blackwood's prime retail channels, right? Do they think Ms. Blackwood is a sucker? Their Royal Collection sales plummeted by % in Europe last year. Now they're desperate to offload it onto the Asian market. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. Oh, and what do you think their weaknesses are? Silas looked utterly lost. Weaknesses? How would I know? His mind continued its rapid-fire analysis. This guy Pierre looks smooth, but he's terrified of silence. I heard he caved and lowered his price during a negotiation in Milan just because the other side clammed up. And he's super sensitive about being told he doesn't understand the Asian market. That's his Achilles heel. Evelyn smiled faintly. Fine, then you'll just stand beside me and don't say a word. Silas, great, I just have to be a decorative vase. Wait, why is Ms. Blackwood smiling like that? It's terrifying. In the conference room, Pierre, impeccably dressed, began in English thick with a French accent. Ms. Blackwood, our collaboration will be a perfect fusion of Eastern and Western luxury. Evelyn elegantly sipped her coffee, listening to Silas's real-time mental translation and commentary. Perfect fusion? More like they want to swap their leftover inventory for our prime real estate. East-West cultural exchange, my ass. So pretentious. Pierre continued his spiel. Our royal collection is beloved by the aristocracy in Europe. Silas was rolling his eyes internally. Beloved by the aristocracy? You mean because it's always on a massive discount? The jewelry they sponsored for that royal wedding last year gave the bride an allergic reaction and sent her to the hospital. Evelyn suddenly set down her cup, her voice cutting through his praise. Mr. Pierre, to my knowledge, the royal collection's European sales dropped by % last year. Is that correct? Pierre's face froze. Well, Silas was laughing his head off in his mind. Huh? Ms. Blackwood is a savage. Goes right for the throat. But how did she know that? Did the marketing department already dig that up? Pierre forced a smile. Ms. Blackwood, numbers don't tell the whole story. Our brand value. Evelyn smiled faintly. Brand value? But your marketing strategy in the Asian markets last year was a complete failure. You didn't even consider basic cultural differences. Pierre was instantly on the defensive. That's impossible. We have done extensive research on the Asian market. Silas's mind supplied the brutal details. Extensive research? For Chinese New Year, their ad campaign featured white gift boxes with chrysanthemums, and they hired an Indian model for a Cheongsam ad. They were roasted online for their cross-dimensional funereal aesthetic. Evelyn followed his lead. For instance, your white chrysanthemum gift boxes for last year's Lunar New Year campaign. Pierre's composure shattered. That was artistic expression. Silas was trying so hard not to laugh, he felt a vessel might burst in his brain. Artistic expression? The internet called it the official gift set for visiting a grave. How does Ms. Blackwood know this stuff? It's unreal. The negotiation stalled. Pierre fell silent, trying to pressure her. It was his signature move. The room was painfully quiet. Silas's mind was racing. Here we go. The Frenchman is playing his game of whoever speaks first loses. Don't fall for it, Ms. Blackwood. He's more desperate than we are. His bosses gave him a 3-day deadline. Evelyn calmly flipped through a document, not saying a word. After seconds, sweat beaded on Pierre's forehead. After a minute, he began unconsciously tapping his pen. After 2 minutes, he finally broke. Ms. Blackwood, perhaps we could be more flexible on the price. Silas was ecstatic. Ha. He cracked. Ms. Blackwood is a queen. Evelyn smiled. Since you're being so sincere, Mr. Pierre, let's revisit the profit-sharing ratio. In the end, Blackwood Corp secured the deal on terms % more favorable than they had initially hoped for. At the celebration dinner, executives flocked to her. Ms. Blackwood, you were incredible. How did you even know LVM's internal numbers? Evelyn sipped her champagne. You think I'm CEO for nothing? Silas stood nearby, his mind reeling. Ms. Blackwood was like a god today. Did she hire a corporate spy, or is she a master hacker? The marketing director asked curiously, Miss Blackwood, how did you know Pierre was afraid of silence? Evelyn glanced at Silas. Observation. Silas's brain was still churning. Observation? An old fox like Pierre would never show his weaknesses that easily. Does Miss Blackwood really have superpowers? No, must believe in science. Just then, a defeated Pierre walked over. Miss Blackwood, may I ask how you saw through our strategy? Evelyn smiled. Just lucky, I guess. Silas's mind screamed, lucky? That was a tactical takedown. It was like she walked into the exam with the answer key. Did she secretly learn how to read minds? Wait, all the things I was thinking about her. Could she have heard them? No way, that's too crazy. Evelyn was trying so hard not to laugh, she might break a rib. The next day, Silas decided to run an experiment. He stood at the door of Evelyn's office and said aloud, Miss Blackwood, you look very nice today, while thinking as loud as he could. I love Miss Blackwood. I love Miss Blackwood. I love Miss Blackwood. Evelyn didn't look up. Flattery will get you nowhere. You're still working late, Silas. Okay, she can't hear me. Yesterday must have been a coincidence. He breathed a sigh of relief and turned away, his mind reverting to its usual programming. Damn capitalists. All they know is how to exploit the working class. Evelyn's voice, sharp as a whip, cut through the air. Mr. Vance, what did you just say? Silas froze. I didn't say anything. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Really? Silas, holy crap. She can hear me. No, it has to be a coincidence. Yes, a coincidence. He forced a calm expression. You must have misheard, Miss Blackwood. I was just thinking this coffee is delicious. Evelyn replied. Oh, but you're drinking tea, Silas. Silas, I'm done for. She can definitely read minds. Is it too late to quit? Evelyn watched the cascade of emotions on his face and finally let out a small laugh. That's enough. Get back to work. Silas fled as if escaping a death sentence, his thoughts trailing behind him. From this day forward, I will mentally recite the Pledge of Allegiance on a loop. I can't let her know. Evelyn, laughing so hard she could barely hold her files, had the corners of her mouth twitching upwards. Her mother's call was as predictable as it was unwelcome. Evelyn, dear, the Lexington boy just got back from Cambridge. You two should meet. Evelyn's face was a mask of indifference. Not interested. Her mother lamented. You have to go this time. I've already booked a table at a 3-Michelin-star restaurant. After hanging up, Evelyn rubbed her temples. Silas walked in with a coffee. Ms. Blackwood, your latte. His thoughts drifted out uncontrollably. Ms. Blackwood is going on a blind date. Who's the unlucky schmuck? No, wait. Any guy would be lucky to get her attention, though with her personality, she'll probably freeze him solid. Evelyn looked up suddenly. Mr. Vance, you'll be accompanying me to a dinner tonight. Silas's hand twitched. Huh? What kind of dinner? A blind date. Silas, holy crap. She's taking me with her on a blind date. Am I supposed to be a third wheel or a human shield? Wait, is she going to ask me to pretend to be her boyfriend? Evelyn watched the storm of expressions on his face and added slowly. You'll be responsible for taking notes on the key talking points. Silas. Oh, so I'm just the secretary. Got excited for nothing. At the restaurant, Chadwick Chad Lexington III was the picture of preppy entitlement in his bespoke suit. Evelyn, a pleasure. I've heard so much about you. He offered his business card with a smug smile. I studied finance at Cambridge, working in investment banking now. Evelyn gave a polite nod. Silas, standing to the side, was having a field day. What a poser. He's got so many titles on his business card you'd think he was insecure or something. Cambridge Finance. More like his dad donated a library to get him in. Chad, completely unaware that his entire persona was being mentally dismantled, continued to drone on. I'm very interested in Blackwood Corporation's business model, particularly the supply chain logistics. Silas's inner monologue kept pace. Supply chain? This guy probably doesn't even know how to spell it. His family's cosmetics factory was all over the news last year for not paying its workers. His dad had to throw a mountain of cash at it to make the story go away. Evelyn spoke up suddenly. Mr. Lexington, since you're so knowledgeable about supply chains, perhaps you could explain why your family's Southeast Asian factory abruptly shut down last year. Chad's expression froze. That was a strategic pivot. Silas was howling with laughter internally. Strategic pivot, my ass. They got caught using substandard materials and were fined into bankruptcy. Ms. Blackwood is ruthless. Chad quickly changed the subject. So, what are your hobbies, Evelyn? Evelyn, work. Silas's inner voice added commentary. And there it is. Ms. Blackwood has activated conversation ender mode. This guy won't last 3 rounds. In a desperate attempt to recover, Chad decided to deploy his humor. A beautiful woman like you must have guys lining up around the block, he said with a wink. But I'm sure none of them are as exceptional as I am. Silas almost spit out his water. What is this, a pickup line from a frat movie? As exceptional as I am. Does he think he's God's gift? That face has clearly been tweaked. His chin is so sharp he could open letters with it. Evelyn took a sip of her tea. Are you always this confident, Mr. Lexington? Chad, completely missing the sarcasm, puffed out his chest. Of course. I have the assets to back it up. He deliberately flashed a limited edition Patek Philippe on his wrist. Silas's mind went on a full-blown tirade. It's a fake. A total knockoff. The color on the dial of a real one is much richer, and this idiot didn't even screw the crown down all the way. It's not even waterproof anymore. Evelyn glanced at the watch. Your watch is very unique. Chad, thinking he'd impressed her, grew even more smug. It's nothing, just a couple million. Evelyn nodded. Yes, uniquely fake. Chad's face was stunned. Silas was mentally rolling on the floor. Huh? Ms. Blackwood is a savage. She just called him out. But how did she know it was a fake? Is she a watch expert too? Chad, red-faced and furious, decided to play his trump card. Evelyn. He leaned in, lowering his voice. A merger between our families would be a win-win. My father said that if we get married, the Lexingtons are prepared to invest $1 billion in Blackwood Corporation. Silas's mind exploded. $1 billion. Who was he kidding? His family's cash flow is about to dry up completely. They were begging banks for loans just last month. This is a classic pump-and-dump scheme. Try to use Blackwood to bail them out. Evelyn set down her fork and knife and smiled faintly. Mr. Lexington, your family corporation had a debt-to-asset ratio of over % last quarter, and your credit lines are maxed out. She dabbed her lips with her napkin. What exactly were you planning on using for that $1 billion investment? Air. Chad's face went white as a sheet. You, how did you know that? Silas was dumbfounded. Ms. Blackwood even knows that? This goes way beyond simple business research. Does she have a mole inside the Lexington Group? Evelyn stood up. I believe we're done here. Chad, not ready to give up, pleaded. Evelyn, please, just give me one more chance. Evelyn didn't look back. Mr. Vance, show our guest out. Silas stepped forward immediately. Mr. Lexington, this way, please. His mind was singing with vindictive glee. Serves you right, you arrogant prick. Trying to show off in front of Ms. Blackwood. You just got spectacularly owned. In the car on the way back, Silas couldn't help but ask, Ms. Blackwood, did you investigate the Lexington Group beforehand? Evelyn stared out the window. I did. Silas's mind was filled with admiration. Ms. Blackwood is always 10 steps ahead. And she was so cool today. The way she shut him down was epic. Wait, why is my heart beating so fast? Evelyn suddenly turned to him. Mr. Vance. Silas snapped to attention. Yes. Order a bouquet of flowers for me tomorrow. Silas, flowers? For who? Don't tell me she actually liked that Chad guy. No way. Evelyn added dryly. Send them to my mother. The card should read, great introduction. Don't ever do it again. Silas, that's my CEO? She roasts even her own mother. Mindy Bloom, the head of HR, bounced into the office. Ms. Blackwood, for this year's team building retreat, we've decided on a resort in the Catskills. There will be barbecue, an escape room, and a hot tub. Evelyn looked up from her files. I'm not going. Mindy was prepared. But every department voted for it. Even Walter from finance said he's bringing his swim trunks. Silas, organizing documents nearby, was trying to suppress his own thoughts. An escape room? Ms. Blackwood in an escape room? I can't even picture it. She'd probably just freeze the game master solid. Evelyn suddenly turned her head. Mr. Vance seems excited. Silas's hands fumbled, sending papers scattering. Huh? I just think team building is a good idea. His mind, however, was screaming. Oh no. Oh no. Is she going to put me in charge of planning? I'm still having nightmares about the punishment game from last year's holiday party. A small smile played on Evelyn's lips. Very well, we'll go. Mr. Vance, you will be responsible for my itinerary. Silas, I knew it. At the resort's barbecue area, various departments were grilling. Gary from marketing sidled up to Evelyn. Ms. Blackwood, try some of this Wagyu I grilled. I had it flown in especially from Japan. Silas, standing by her side, was mentally rolling his eyes. Flown in from Japan, my ass. The packaging clearly said Trader Joe's special. What a suck-up. Evelyn elegantly put down her chopsticks. Gary, perhaps you should save the supermarket specials for yourself. Gary's face went pale. Walter from finance quickly tried to smooth things over. Ms. Blackwood, how about try my lamb chops? Silas's inner commentary went into high alert. Oh God, not him. The last time Walter grilled, he gave half the company food poisoning. Run, Ms. Blackwood, run. Evelyn calmly pushed the plate away. Walter, I still haven't signed off on last year's medical expense reports. Walter was gobsmacked. Silas, is Ms. Blackwood psychic today? How does she know everything? Did she secretly install cameras everywhere? During the escape room activity, Evelyn was randomly assigned to Silas's group. The game master explained the rules. This theme is Tomb Raiders. You have minutes to find the treasure. Silas pretended to listen intently, but his mind was wailing. This is horrible. Ms. Blackwood hates stupid games like this. Wait, is she just going to break down the door? The repair costs won't come out of our salaries, will they? Once the game started, their teammate Isabel was staring at a combination lock in frustration. What do these ancient symbols even mean? Silas understood it instantly. It's just the words mountain, sea, scroll written backwards. The designers are so lazy. Before he could say anything, Evelyn had already keyed in the answer. MOUNTAINCROLL. The lock clicked open. The whole group was silent. Silas was mentally reeling. Miss Blackwood even knows ancient scripts. Is she even human? Wait, did she secretly look up the walkthrough? The next room required them to align a series of gears based on a star chart on the ceiling. Their colleagues were stumped. Is that Scorpio? Silas was silently judging them. Have these people never looked at the night sky? That's obviously the Big Dipper. You just have to turn the handle until... Evelyn had already reached up and turned the mechanism, the Big Dipper handle pointing east. A hidden door slid open. Their teammates were ready to kneel. Ms. Blackwood, have you done this room before? Evelyn just shook her head. Intuition. Silas, a woman's intuition is a terrifying thing. That evening at the hot tub, Silas was enjoying a relaxing soak when a scream erupted from the women's section next door. There's a mouse. The entire area descended into chaos. Silas's mind filled with glee. Huh? It must be that hamster Kevin from logistics brought with him. Wait a second. Miss Blackwood is in the women's hot tub. He was about to jump out when he heard Evelyn's calm, cool voice. It's not a mouse. It's a hamster. This was followed by her composed. Staff, please come and secure this hamster. The entire hot tub area fell silent. Silas was on his knees in his mind. Miss Blackwood even knew that. I have to be extra nice to her from now on. She's terrifying. Then another thought popped into his head. I wonder what Miss Blackwood looks like in a swimsuit, maybe a bikini? Suddenly, from the other side of the partition came a loud splash, as if someone had slipped. A staff member's panicked voice cried out, Miss Blackwood, are you all right? Evelyn's voice, uncharacteristically flustered, replied, I'm fine. On the bus back, Isabel was excitedly recapping the day. The most amazing discovery from this trip? Ms. Blackwood is an escape room god. Her colleagues all agreed she was incredible. It was like she had psychic powers. Silas, sitting in the corner, thought to himself, you people have no idea how terrifying this is. Ms. Blackwood is. She probably even knows what I'm thinking right now. Evelyn suddenly turned her head. Mr. Vance. Silas jumped. Yes. For next week's departmental review, you'll be presenting the report. Silas, it's over. She can definitely hear me. Should I start reciting the Constitution in my head? Evelyn looked out the window, the corners of her mouth twitching upwards. Mindy Bloom, the HR director, approached Evelyn's desk, trembling. Ms. Blackwood, this year's annual party is booked at the Grand Hyatt. The program includes a musical number from marketing, a comedy routine from IT. Evelyn didn't look up from her document. Cancel the prize raffle. Mindy looked like she was about to cry. But But the $1 million grand prize is what the employees look forward to most. Silas, organizing files nearby, had a thought. Last year's raffle was rigged by Ms. Blackwood to be a consolation prize for all. Everyone got a single pack of tissues. The nerds in IT are still complaining about it on Reddit. Evelyn suddenly closed the folder. Fine. Keep the raffle. Mindy was overjoyed. Thank you, Miss Blackwood. I'll go prepare. But change the prizes to this. Evelyn pushed a list across the desk. Mindy's face turned to stone as she read it. Silas snuck a peek, and his mind imploded. A physical copy of the romance novel claimed by the billionaire? An online course titled, How to Live with a Capricorn? A spa day experience voucher? What kind of demonetized list is this? At the party that night, during marketing's pop group dance number, Gary the manager suddenly ran on stage and attempted a series of breakdancing moves. The entire ballroom fell silent. Silas covered his face, his mind screaming, "Oh, the humanity, the pelvic gyrations of a greasy middle-aged man." The cleaning staff are pulling out their phones to record this for blackmail purposes. Evelyn coolly pressed a button on her tablet. 0 points. The giant screen behind the stage displayed the judges' scores in real time. Gary froze mid-pose. When the IT department performed their comedy routine, the two programmers forgot their lines, creating an awkward silence. Silas was panicking for them. Just use the quantum wave speed reading, joke you practiced at times in rehearsal. Evelyn suddenly picked up her microphone. Quantum wave speed reading. The programmer on stage lit up as if saved by a divine angel. Yes, just like our boss's reading speed. The room erupted in laughter. Silas's mind was blown. How does Ms. Blackwood even know the jokes from the rehearsal? Did she bug the office? When the grand prize was announced, the winner, Walter from Finance, stared at his prize certificate in confusion. How to Live with a Capricorn Course Access, Permanent. Silas was trying so hard not to laugh, he was physically shaking. This is gold. Everyone in the company knows Walter's wife is a Capricorn. Ms. Blackwood's precision targeting is better than a guided missile. The second prize winner, Kevin from Logistics, looked at his spa voucher and burst into tears. Why is it a voucher for two? I don't even have a girlfriend. Evelyn added calmly. You can bring your hamster. The entire room was silent. Silas mentally bowed down. She even knows about the hamster. Ms. Blackwood definitely has the logistics department under surveillance. Wait, could she actually read minds? The host suddenly announced. And now, for a special performance, please welcome Silas Vance from the CEO's office. Silas, I didn't sign up for this. It must be Mindy getting revenge because I refused her offer of milk tea last week. Evelyn turned to look at him. You're not going? Silas squared his shoulders. I'm going. Standing on stage, his mind was a frantic whirlwind. Singing? The last time I did karaoke, my rendition of I Will Always Love You sounded like a dying pig. Dancing? I still have PTSD from the time my pants split open during a performance with a college dance crew. Suddenly, an idea struck. Yes, I can do that. 5 minutes later, the entire company watched in stunned silence as Silas performed his office supply symphony, using a photocopier as a drum kit, a paper shredder as an electric guitar, and even tapping out a beatbox rhythm on the time clock. Evelyn was the first to applaud. Prize for creativity. Silas breathed a sigh of relief, only to hear her add, You're on the schedule again for next year. Silas's soul instantly crumbled. No, that burst of creativity was fueled by years of being single. I can't do it again. The Germany trip in incognito mode. After the party, Silas was left to clean up the prizes. Evelyn suddenly appeared beside him. Your performance. Silas flinched. It was terrible, right? I promise next year I'll. It was interesting, Evelyn said, setting down her coffee cup. Better than certain people's pelvic dances. Silas stood frozen, a fireworks display going off in his head. Ms. Blackwood praised me. Wait, has she been replaced by an alien pod person, or am I finally getting a promotion? Next month, you're coming with me on a business trip to Germany. Yes, ma'am. Silas answered instantly, the mental fireworks continuing. Germany. I can eat pork knuckle, drink beer, buy some Westhoff knives. No, wait, the important thing is she's taking me on a business trip. Am I finally graduating from the CEO's kept man? As she reached the door, Evelyn turned back. By the way, enjoy claimed by the billionaire. Silas. How did she know I was reading that? Of my browser's incognito mode. This woman can definitely read minds. Silas was petrified on the spot. First class fluster. In the first class cabin, Silas sat ramrod straight, stealing glances at Evelyn, who was resting with her eyes closed. Ms. Blackwood looks so peaceful when she's sleeping. Her eyelashes are so long. Wait, what am I thinking? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. A flight attendant pushed a cart by. Sir, anything to drink? Coffee, please. Cream or sugar? Just as Silas was about to answer, he heard Evelyn say, her eyes still closed. He doesn't take sugar, but he'll need 2 creams. The flight attendant and Silas shared a bewildered look. Silas's mind reeled. How does she even know my coffee habits? This is not normal. Did she spy on me while I was making coffee? Evelyn slowly opened her eyes. You always pour the creamer twice, Silas. She remembers details like that. Is it possible Miss Blackwood has a crush on me? No way. The plane suddenly hit a patch of turbulence. Silas instinctively gripped the armrest, his mind wailing. Oh God, I hate turbulence. Somebody save me. A cool hand suddenly covered his. Evelyn stared straight ahead. Don't worry, it's just an air pocket. Silas was petrified. Why is Miss Blackwood being so nice? And this gesture, this line, this is straight out of a cheesy romance drama. Munich negotiation. On a street in Munich, Silas was turning in circles, staring at his phone. Why is Google Maps telling me to walk through this wall? Are all Germans secretly wizards? Ms. Blackwood's gonna call me an idiot again. Evelyn suddenly ducked into a small alleyway. This way. 3 minutes later, they magically arrived at their destination. Silas was dumbfounded. Miss Blackwood, have you been to Germany before? First time. Then how did you? Evelyn pointed to a sign on the wall in German. Durchgang means passageway. Silas mentally facepalmed. I was so busy thinking about Miss Blackwood, I forgot to look at the actual signs. At lunch, a cheerful waiter recommended the special. We have a fantastic pork knuckle today. Silas's eyes lit up. Here it is, the musty German delicacy. I'm gonna order the biggest one. Evelyn spoke up. Just a regular portion for him. He had an upset stomach yesterday. The waiter beamed. Your wife is so considerate. Silas choked on his water. Cough, cough, cough. Evelyn calmly wiped the table. In German, partner can also refer to a business associate. In the conference room, their German counterpart, Hans, was droning on. And therefore, the price must increase by %. Silas was sweating. This old guy is full of it. International raw material prices have dropped. Do you think we're fools? Evelyn suddenly pushed a file across the table. According to the London Metal Exchange, the price of copper has fallen by % year over year. Hans's expression shifted. Well, that is. Silas was cheering internally. Nice one. Wait, when did Ms. Blackwood prepare that data? Did she anticipate his anticipation? When the negotiation reached a standstill, Hans switched to German to confer with his colleagues. The Americans don't understand the brewing process. We could just feed them some nonsense. Silas panicked. What is this bird language? Wait, does he think we won't understand him just because we're in Germany? Evelyn suddenly countered in fluent German. Since your company is willing to falsify the origin of your hops, perhaps we'd be better off negotiating with a Belgian firm. The entire German team's faces paled. On the way back to the hotel, Silas was practically worshipping her. Ms. Blackwood, your German is incredible. A minor in it in college. Then how did you know they were? Evelyn replied nonchalantly. I read lips. Silas's mind exploded into fireworks. What kind of spy skill is that? Is Ms. Blackwood's real identity a CIA operative? The thin walls and the quantum kiss. Late that night, a knock on the door startled Silas awake. He opened it to find Evelyn in a bathrobe. He was instantly wide awake. Holy crap. What is happening? Is the legendary casting couch scenario finally here? Should I play hard to get, or just lie down and accept my fate? Evelyn frowned. The air conditioning in your room is broken. I heard a strange noise. Silas, baffled, checked his AC unit. It's not blowing cold, but how did you? The walls are thin, Evelyn said, turning to leave. Move into the suite next to mine. Silas followed, clutching his pillow, his mind racing. What is this? The alpha CEO style of caring for someone. Wait, could she really hear me complaining about the AC through the wall? Then what about last night when I was secretly reading Claimed by the Billionaire? In the new suite, Silas tossed and turned. The bed is too soft. The pillow is too high. This body wash has the same scent as Ms. Blackwood's. What am I doing smelling things? I'm a pervert. Suddenly, he got a text from Evelyn. Breakfast at AM tomorrow. Attached was a screenshot of the private Facebook post he had made 3 minutes earlier complaining about the soft bed. Silas was so shocked he literally fell out of bed. How can she see that? This isn't mind reading anymore. This is hacking. In the airport lounge, Silas finally worked up the courage. Ms. Blackwood, am I what? Are you able to hear what I'm thinking? Evelyn set down her coffee cup and suddenly leaned in close. Silas held his breath. Oh God, this distance. Her eyelashes are so long, her lips look so soft. Mr. Vance, Evelyn said, looking directly into his eyes, you read too many web novels. Then she turned and walked gracefully toward the gate. Silas was frozen to the spot. What kind of answer is that? Is that a yes or no? And how does she know I read web novels? I'm gonna lose my mind. As the plane took off, he caught a glimpse of the curve of her lips. I'm doomed. I think I've been completely and utterly captured by this she-devil. The boardroom and fanfiction. Silas scurried into the boardroom, arms laden with files, and was met by the sinister smile of the CFO, Walter Davis. Leo, my boy, I hear you're handling the quarterly report this time. That old fox's smile is creepy. The last time he smiled like that, Gary from marketing was exiled to the warehouse. Evelyn's voice suddenly came from behind him. Walter, you seem to have a lot of free time. Perhaps you should start by reviewing the accounting irregularities flagged by the last audit. Walter's face went white. Silas's heart sang with joy. Ms. Blackwood for the win. Wait, the audit report only mentioned. Does she even know about the hidden books? The chairman cleared his throat. Regarding the new energy project, some board members have expressed concerns about the ROI. Silas glanced at Director Lee, the most vocal opponent. This old geezer definitely took a bribe from a competitor. I saw his assistant acting shady yesterday. Evelyn suddenly opened a folder. Speaking of which, here are some photos of Director Lee's assistant accepting gifts in the Four Seasons parking garage yesterday. The projector lit up, showing a crisp image of the assistant stuffing a luxury brand's shopping bag into the trunk of a car. The room was dead silent. Silas's jaw hit the table. Where did you get that picture? Did she hire a private investigator? Wait, how did she know what I was thinking? Director Lee shot to his feet. This is slander. Evelyn coolly swiped on her tablet. Shall we play the dashcam audio? Director Lee collapsed back into his chair. During the break, Silas was in the break room, chugging ice water to calm his nerves. The HR director, a notorious gossip, sidled up. Silas, I hear a promotion is in your future. This harpy is trying to pump me for information again. She's the one who started the rumors about me and Ms. Blackwood. Evelyn materialized in the doorway like a phantom. About that Etsy shop you were running last year using company resources. The HR director's hand jerked, spilling coffee all over her Hermes scarf. Ms. Blackwood, I'll go write my self-criticism report right now. Silas cowered in the corner. It's over. She knows too many secrets. Am I next? What about the fanfiction I printed with the company printer last week? Evelyn turned her head suddenly. The art was quite good. The composition on page of Claimed by the Sea. Silas felt his soul crack in two. She even knows the page number. I hid that thing at the very bottom of my desk drawer. As the meeting concluded, the chairman singled him out. Silas, what's your take on this proposal? Silas, who had been completely zoned out, snapped to attention. Crap, I didn't hear a thing. My go-to move is to say I completely agree with Ms. Blackwood's opinion. Wait, what does Ms. Blackwood just say? Evelyn, without missing a beat, said, Mr. Vance's point is that we should follow the model of our Singapore branch, ensuring a % profit margin while. The chairman nodded, satisfied. An excellent insight. Silas was ready to worship her. Is Miss Blackwood covering for me? Is it possible she's actually a good person? No, this must be some new advanced form of psychological manipulation. After the meeting, the chairman clapped Silas on the shoulder. Good work, young man. You'll represent the company at the industry summit next week. Before Silas could celebrate, he heard Evelyn add, remember to wear that navy blue suit. How does she know that's my most expensive suit? Wait, has she been watching me every time I get changed? Stop, I can't think about this. The experiment begins. Working late. The entire floor was empty except for the two of them. Silas finally summoned his courage. Miss Blackwood, are you a mind reader? Evelyn set down her pen. What do you think? Oh God, this distance. Her perfume smells so good. What am I thinking? I need to recite the Bill of Rights. Silas walked into the CEO's office with a coffee and found Evelyn for the first time ever rubbing her temples. Ms. Blackwood looks terrible today. Did she sleep badly? Or did she find out I stole the chocolate from her desk drawer? Evelyn looked up. What did you just say? Huh? I didn't say anything. Ms. Blackwood's legs look amazing in those stockings today. Evelyn showed no reaction, continuing to sign documents. Seeing her lack of response, Silas's thoughts grew bolder. Her waist is so slim, I want to wrap my arms around it. Her lips look so soft, I want to kiss them. He didn't notice that the tip of Evelyn's pen had just ripped through the paper. During the evening rush, the elevator was packed. Silas was pressed tightly against Evelyn. Holy crap, this proximity. Her hair is brushing against my neck, so fragrant. It's that expensive rose perfume. He snuck a glance downward and saw the hint of her collarbone between the buttons of her silk blouse. Oh no, I'm going to have a physical reaction. Must recite multiplication tables. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2. The elevator suddenly lurched, and Evelyn fell into his arms. Silas instinctively wrapped an arm around her waist. Careful. The feeling of her slender waist in his hand caused his brain to short-circuit. So slim, so soft. Is this workplace harassment? Will I get fired? But I really want to touch her again. Evelyn looked up, their noses almost touching. Silas stared at her lips. So close to his. Would I die if I kissed her? Probably worth it. Just as he was inexplicably leaning in, the elevator doors opened. The entire marketing department stared, jaws agape, at their intimate pose. Evelyn slapped a screenshot from the security footage on her desk. The photo showed Silas's hand resting coincidentally on her backside. Silas waved his hands frantically. It's the angle. I swear I didn't touch. Although she does have a great ass. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Is that so? Honestly, Silas decided to just go for it. Ms. Blackwood, your figure is just too good. After a suffocating silence, Evelyn suddenly turned and walked towards the private lounge. In here, Silas's legs turned to jelly. Is she going to fire me or murder me? Inside the small lounge, Evelyn locked the door and suddenly grabbed his wrist. Aya, she's touching me. I'm holding Miss Blackwood's hand. She's wearing a black lace bra today. Evelyn's ears suddenly turned pink. Pervert. She stood on her toes, getting closer. Close your eyes. Think about something else. Her rose-scented breath washed over his lips. Silas squeezed his eyes shut. The preamble to the Constitution. We the people. No, it's not working. My mind is full of her. We're definitely going to kiss now. A soft pressure suddenly met his lips. Silas's eyes flew open, and he saw Evelyn's eyelashes, long and dark, just inches from his face. When they parted, she licked her lips. I'll take responsibility for you. Silas's soul left his body, so my first kiss is gone. Evelyn had already resumed her icy demeanor. You're working late tonight. She paused at the door and added, bring your toothbrush. Silas, what does that mean? Is that an official notice of a workplace affair? Quantum entanglement. At a clock in the empty CEO's office, Silas stared at the document on the table, his voice trembling. Informed consent for physical contact in the study of quantum entanglement. Is this legal? Evelyn pushed a pen towards him. Article, section, the employee is obligated to cooperate with company research projects. She totally just made that up. And why are the methods of contact so detailed? Hand-holding, minutes. Hugging, minutes. Kissing, minutes. This is basically a date itinerary. The pen was suddenly snatched from his hand. Having second thoughts? Evelyn asked, unbuttoning her blazer with one hand. No. Silas grabbed the pen back and signed his name with a flourish. Evelyn's lips curved into a smile. Let the experiment begin. Silas shakily placed his hand on the table. Evelyn covered it with her own, their fingers lacing together. Oh God, her palm is sweaty. Is Miss Blackwood nervous too? Wait, this is basically what couples do. Evelyn frowned. Focus on one thing. Right. Okay, think about work. Quarterly reports. Ms. Blackwood's lips are so soft. No, what am I thinking? Test. Hugging. Silas stood stiff as a board as Evelyn gently wrapped her arms around his waist. Crap, Crap, my heart is beating so loud she can probably hear it. Her hair is tickling my nose. Smells so good. Evelyn suddenly let out a muffled grunt. Stop thinking strange things. I am not. I was just imagining tearing off her suit and skirt. Test. Lip contact. Silas stared at her approaching red lips and suddenly put a hand on her shoulder. Wait, if this is for science, shouldn't we control the variables? For example, he inexplicably removed her gold-rimmed glasses. The frames might get in the way. What am I saying? But without her glasses, Ms. Blackwood looks so vulnerable. The moment their lips touched, Silas suddenly heard a new, unfamiliar thought. So sweet. Silas's eyes flew open. Was that you thinking? Evelyn, for the first time, looked flustered. The experiment is terminated. Wait, I think I can hear Ms. Blackwood's thoughts now. This isn't scientific. Silas clutched the research notes. Could quantum entanglement actually be real? Evelyn suddenly loosened her tie. Continue the experiment. Increase the surface area of contact. She sat down directly on his lap. Focus and feel. Silas's soul nearly left his body. This position is so scandalous. And why are you on top? MMPH. In that instant, a torrent of thoughts flooded his mind. Idiot. When you sneak glances at me every day, it's actually very cute. Silas was stunned to realize that when Evelyn's emotions were high, he could hear snippets of her thoughts. And right now, he heard one crystal clear, like. The next morning, Silas deliberately swayed past Evelyn's desk, holding coffee. Ms. Blackwood said she liked me yesterday. The tip of Evelyn's pen broke. Her ears were turning red. The file in her hand was crushed into a wrinkled mess. So the Ice Queen Act is all a front. Evelyn suddenly grabbed his tie. Mr. Vance, why? Yes, we'll continue the experiment tonight, she said in a low voice, to study whether sound can still be transmitted if the mouth is otherwise occupied. Silas. Oh crap, I've gone too far. The archives room. In the dark, musty archives room, Evelyn locked the door behind them. Explain. Silas steeled himself. I was just curious how you can read minds. Not that. Evelyn advanced on him. Why were you fantasizing about me in a maid outfit this morning? Crap. She heard everything. Wait a minute. Now I can read her mind in return. The advantage is mine. He boldly counterattacked. Well, why were you fantasizing about pinning me to the conference table yesterday? Evelyn's eyes widened in shock. Huh. Counterattack successful. Wait, why is she unbuttoning her shirt? Since we're reading each other, Evelyn said, undoing the first button. We might as well have a frank exchange. Just as the second button flew off, the power in the archives went out, plunging them into darkness. In the pitch black, Silas was shoved against a shelving unit. He heard ragged breathing next to his ear. Now, who can hear whom? Ms. Blackwood, isn't this a bit much? It's for science. Evelyn grabbed his hand and pressed it against her chest. Check my heart rate. He could feel a frantic pounding against his palm. BPM. So you're nervous, too. He suddenly heard a clear thought. Idiot. Another followed. You're the one who started this. A spark of inspiration hit Silas. He leaned in and whispered in her ear. So, do you like it? I like it. Catching that single thought was all the confirmation Silas needed. He finally made his move. Weird. Where's the key to the archives? The voice of a director drifted from the hallway. The entangled figures on a shelf froze simultaneously. Evelyn let go. Silas, you're the one holding my tie. As the sound of a key turning in the lock echoed, they scrambled to hide in the tight space behind the rearmost filing cabinet. In the cramped darkness, Evelyn was forced to straddle his lap. This position, we're definitely going to get caught. As the beam of a flashlight swept past, Silas suddenly pressed Evelyn's head down, burying her face in his shoulder. The director muttered something about a tripped breaker, and his footsteps faded away. Once they were safe, neither of them moved. Silas's throat was dry. Do we still need to measure my heart rate? Evelyn suddenly bit his earlobe. Let's measure something else. Wait, that feeling. Are you unbuckling my belt? Is this what you call scientific research? A metallic click echoed in the darkness. Ms. Blackwood, the door isn't locked. Call me Evelyn. After the door was locked, just as Silas finally managed to turn the tables and press her against the shelves, he heard a thought laced with a hint of a sob. Be gentle. It's my first time. He stopped instantly. You've never. Evelyn buried her face in his neck. Experimental data must be kept confidential. The next morning, the director stared in shock at the archives room. Who knocked over the shelving unit for the MK project and spilled coffee everywhere? Wait, were these white stains? While the entire office was buzzing with rumors of the archives being haunted, Silas was secretly massaging Evelyn's lower back in her office. Does it hurt? Shut up. It's all your fault. Silas smiled and kissed the top of her head. Shall we continue our research tonight? In response, a blushing Evelyn pinched his thigh hard. Under the mahogany desk. On Monday morning, Silas was enjoying a blissful moment, resting his head on Evelyn's lap, when a commotion erupted outside her office. Ms. Blackwood, the chairman is making a surprise inspection. He's already in the main lobby. Evelyn shot upright, nearly head-butting Silas. Why would Dad come here all of a sudden? Wait, last week he mentioned something about introducing me to a potential marriage candidate. Silas sprang up. Marriage? Evelyn shoved his head down. Hide. Where? Evelyn pointed calmly under her massive mahogany desk. In there. Silas. This scene feels disturbingly similar to the beginning of certain videos I shouldn't be watching. He had just crammed himself under the desk when the office door opened. Evelyn, you can't even offer your own father a cup of tea, the chairman's stern voice boomed. Evelyn's expression was unruffled. Isabel, get the chairman some tea. Silas held his breath, his eyes involuntarily drawn to Evelyn's legs. The sleek curves wrapped in black stockings were inches from his face. He could even smell her faint perfume. Stay calm, stay calm. Now is not the time for a biological reaction. Her father sat down, blocking Silas's only escape route. Next week is the welcome home party for the Lynn's son. You will attend. Evelyn's voice was cool. I'm not interested. The Lynn family is our social equal. The boy is back from his studies abroad. A fine young man. Under the desk, Silas couldn't help but grimace, his knee accidentally brushing against Evelyn's calf. Evelyn coughed lightly, her legs pressing together slightly. Wait a minute, could she be? To test his theory, Silas deliberately traced a finger along her ankle. Evelyn flinched, and her pen clattered to the floor. Her father frowned. What's wrong? Nothing. Evelyn bent down to pick up the pen, using the opportunity to shoot Silas a murderous glare. The movement, however, brought Silas's face almost into contact with her thigh. Oh man, this angle is too much. Her father continued his lecture. It's time you considered. Dad. Evelyn cut him off. I'm already seeing someone. Under the desk, Silas's heart skipped a beat. Her father was stunned. Who? Evelyn's face was a perfect mask. I'll bring them home when the time is right. Wait, did she just publicly acknowledge our relationship? Wait, Miss Blackwood, why are you unbuttoning your blazer? As her jacket slid from her shoulders, it landed directly on Silas's head, enveloping him in her signature scent mixed with a faint, almost imperceptible trace of, is that sweat? Is Miss Blackwood nervous? Using the jacket as cover, Silas boldly pressed a kiss onto Evelyn's knee. Evelyn's hands shot out and gripped the edge of the desk, her knuckles turning white. Her father suddenly stood up. The party next week is mandatory. I know. Evelyn cut him off quickly. Don't you have another meeting to get to? The moment her father left, Silas started to crawl out, only to be stopped by Evelyn's leg blocking his path. Who gave you permission to move? Silas blinked innocently. I was conducting scientific exploration. Oh. A slow, wicked smile spread across Evelyn's face. Then explore this. She picked up her phone, and, though she didn't dial, she spoke into it clearly. Mindy, come to my office now for the quarterly review. Silas grabbed her ankle in terror. Evelyn, I was wrong. She's going to make me stand here while Mindy is in the room. That's too humiliating. Evelyn's smile widened. Scared now. Silas took his chance, scrambling out from under the desk and in one smooth motion pushing her back into a large executive chair. No, he said, leaning over her. I've discovered something much more interesting. He nibbled on her earlobe. Your father is still on this floor. Do you dare make a sound?